Big news coming through, and this is a CNN News 18 exclusive on the emergence of evidence of anti-India insurgency groups getting logistical support and getting organized in Bangladesh. Seizure of Kuki-Chin National Front uniforms from a garment factory in Chattogram has come to the fore. 20,000 plus KNF uniforms have been seized during a raid on Ringwo Apparels in Chattogram. 3 suspects, including the factory owner, 1 local KNF commander, have been arrested. The uniforms deal was worth about $2 million or 2 crore taka. The delivery was scheduled for later this month. The factory owner says they were unaware that this order was actually illegal. The KNF has boosted activity in Chittagong Hill Tract for insurgency operations. The KNF is accused of extortion, kidnappings, robberies and Islamist collaborations. More importantly, the KNF officially has a cadre of just 12,000 cadre or about 12,000 cadre. But they have got uniforms stitched for more than 20,000. The numbers say it is up to about 30,000. So another 18,000 extra uniforms. Why were they getting these stitched is another question. And this factory was also stitching garments for the ARSA, the Arakan Rakhin Salvation Army, and also certain other insurgent outfits in Manipur. And they were getting all of this stitched in a garment factory in proper Chattogram. Lieutenant General Pandey is with us, Ambassador Deepak Vora with us. Namaste, Jai Hind. Such a pleasure to see you two gentlemen.
Pleasure to be with you.
Thank you, sir. Ab Bangladesh, bataiye what is going on? Mohammad Yunus Khan is there. There is also a huge development of aggregation of the radicals in Dhaka. There is huge military deployment in Dhaka, and in Chattogram this is an open field for insurgents. We discussed Lalmonirhat, the airbase that the Chinese have come and visited, World War II airbase only yesterday. So those reports, all of this between now, last 3-4 months, Ambassador Saab.
Well, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be with you, and of course with General Pandey, who is a legend in the Indian Army and
continues to soldier with passion.
He is outstanding. So are you. You're one of the best in the country. Well, thank you very much. You know, the thing about Bangladesh, I've been there several times. I've met Sheikh Hasina, etc. What I'm seeing happen there is this guy who used to be the gatekeeper or the cook for Hillary and Billubhai Clinton and was foisted on the people of Bangladesh, unelected.
Sir, he's not even a citizen of Bangladesh.
Thank you very much.
He's a US passport holder.
And in 1971, by the way, when the Bangladesh Liberation War was on, this guy was based in Tennessee, I think. And there he used to publish a Bangladesh newspaper saying he Pakistani badmash hai, chor hai, daku hai. And now he's darling with these guys. But opinions change. My own feeling, sir, is that his days are numbered.
Okay.
And he is trying to see if on the basis of a certain nuisance value, he can survive. Which means that if you guys kick me out, I've already got these battalions of jihadis and I can unleash them. And that is not going to work because there's another character there called General Wakar Zaman, who says, you know, Chief Advisor, get lost because you're a pretty useless character. You are destroyed. He's come on record. He said publicly that the country is about to crumble. This guy doesn't care. He's so used to, he loves being referred to as Your Excellency. Macron refused to meet him, and this guy in his arrogance says, I'm not going to France. You know, he was going for that conference on the oceans and so on.
Yeah.
So my own feeling is, sir, he is deliberately doing what he is doing, and he is trying to tell the jihadis across on the other side of the Indian border, he's trying to tell jihadis wherever they are, that look, I am your base. If you have been kicked out of country A, B, C and D, come to Bangladesh, you'll find fertile ground here. It's a very dangerous game because the monster that he is creating, I don't think he's ever read Dr. Frankenstein, the monster will come back to eat him. Frankenstein was the creator. He is Frankenstein. The monster is the jihadis whom he is creating.
But Ambassador Saab, see, one of the best, all of them, all these compliments that you've showered on us come back, bouncing back at you. You're the senior, like you said, you've met all these leaders, you've seen how it is. How is it, General Pandey, that we are supposed to be the big daddy in this region, and then America orchestrates a regime change in Bangladesh and we are not wise enough? There could be a situation soon, do you agree, disagree, that within the next 6 months we should have a military rule or a coup in Pakistan, and in the next 48 hours or if not a week, there could be a temporary coup that could happen and martial law imposed in Bangladesh. How is it that we are allowing this to happen? Is this not a huge challenge? And especially with these insurgents having a free run along with the radical outfits, Hizb ut-Tahrir, Al-Qaeda Bangladesh, all of them are openly there. Today again, the Awami League has protested the release by the courts of a serial killer and a wanted terrorist and again, a person of interest, a terrorist.
So let's start with a couple of things.
Ji.
One is there's a repetition of what was happening in Pakistan is happening in Bangladesh, and when you look at the manner in which is coming out, it is very clear that the deep state involvement to carry out these kind of an action is quite evident. It's quite replication of same thing what is happening in Pakistan. What has happened in Pakistan all the time? You pick up a fringe element,
Yes.
you foist it on a population in a manner or this thing. It's a system where they have applied all across the world, and thereafter tell that fringe chief, right? You bring him out from US, foist them, and thereafter you tell him that you need to use religion to bind your people. So to say that we are not aware of what is going to happen will be possibly wrong. But the problem is that you can't do much in such an environment. We are not powerful enough right now to go inside and intervene in those manners the way world powers do. And in sense of world power, only one power does it today, and that is we know whom we are referring to. So look at equivalence, look at similarities. So you pick up this guy, now you tell him that Islam is the only way to go forward. There is already a large element in 1971, which was aligned to Pakistan in any case, right? They were the supporters of Pak Army, the Razakars, who really got mauled over a period of time. That ideology remained, and I keep on saying, the radical virus goes back for some times, but it mutates and comes back stronger. It took them time to come stronger, about 50 years plus, but they have come back. So they are the one which are riding. The second is, when you use students to carry out this in terms of an ideological framework where you are looking for a very ideal state, right? And you combine this mixture of religion and student stuff, it becomes really volatile, uncontrollable. So in last few days, I'm quite sure you are also aware that there are voices which are saying that Yunus wants to leave and get out. He's aged. This is a hot potato he's taken. Right? It is difficult for them. Only sane voice there. And when you say a martial law comes into Pakistan and a martial law comes in Bangladesh, I look at positively in Bangladesh, because Bangladesh army is a different animal.
And Waqaruzzaman seems to have his heart in the right place.
Okay, I will not talk of only leadership. You know what happens is, I have trained number of Bangladesh officers.
But sir, during the coup, we could see that nearly 15 to 20% of the Bangladeshi army is also now become radicalized.
So 15 to 20% vis-a-vis 80% in Pakistan. There's a huge difference. Again, when the society is radicalized to 15-20%, the Bangladesh army is going to be a representative of the society. So let's not focus on 10 to 15, but there's a large number which is quite balanced. I have met those officers. They are very, very professional officers. They are into military profession. They are not into religious profession. Unlike what your friend Asim Munir, right?
Correct.
You are quite friendly with him, so I know.
Pinjre wali Munir.
Pinjre wali Munir. So you know there is a difference between the two. I'll be pretty okay that this gentleman takes over and ensures fair elections, and this whole butchering which is going on of you imagine the BNP was in support at some point of time. Now they realized that it is hunger of power of Yunus, who wanted to come back into power as a president, as so many things, but he was denied that opportunity because the Bangladeshi strategic community knew what he was truly.
See, I think the Bangladesh people have to realize that right now, nearly 12 of the people who are part, including the NSA, the interim advisor, all of them are non-Bangladeshis. They are all foreign citizens. In terms of nationality. US citizen, Swedish, UK citizen, Canadian citizen, they are all from all over the place. They are not from Bangladesh because they have given up Bangladesh nationality. So when you give up a Bangladesh nationality and you come back and rule that country, it's how is it being allowed is the big question. 71, sir, another thing, what top intelligence sources have told CNN News 18, along with the contract for Unifroms. I just want to put out this 71 war thing, if you can put out. The this Lalmore Nirhad case, airbase, a 4.2 kilometer runway built in World War II. Not this, I want the war pictures before we go to this, please, if we can. Now, a 4.2 4.2 kilometer runway, yeah, this is the one. Now, this is not so far away from the Siliguri corridor, which the Chinese have come and inspected. Now, they want to revive this. It was nothing but a military maintenance unit. They want to create it into a full-fledged thing. Since World War II, this has not been active. It's 12 kilometers from the Indian border, 135 kilometers from the Siliguri corridor. A Chinese delegation was spotted here in April, May 2025. So, there is this aspect. It's 110 kilometers from Hasimara, which is the Rafale squadron is placed there. 95 kilometers from Sukna, where the Trishakti Corps are, and then there are other bases also that come in the radar. Now, along with this, there is another input that's come through. The contract for uniforms actually shows banned groups exploiting businesses in Bangladesh. The KNF is using intermediaries like those named in the FIR for logistical operations. The KNF has ties with Bangladesh-based JAFs, an Islamist terror group. Ties to Islamist terror groups raises fears of coordinated attacks, insurgency growth. Chittagong Hill Tract borders India's northeast and Myanmar's Chin state, so then that tri-area is a problem. The hill tract is becoming a tri-junction for terror operations. Seizure of uniforms signifies militarization of KNF and preparation for conflict. The KNF militants have entered Mizoram disguised as refugees fleeing Bangladesh. So there are multiple problems, and we know there is a larger enemy sitting there who's organizing this turmoil and enjoying and saying, I'd like this.
You know, what you have said makes eminent sense. Well, your job, and you do it brilliantly, is to tell the nation what is happening. We are trained, and I've been 52 years in diplomacy, to try and understand why it is happening. Why was she booted out, Sheikh Hasina? And now she's even alleging that her father was assassinated over St. Martin's Island. I have reason to believe that she's speaking the truth. For the Americans, who is America's enemy number one, sir? It's not India, it's not Russia, it's not Brazil, it's not South Africa, it's China. I want to control China, and if you look at the map of St. Martin's Island, I have been there.
Yeah.
I've looked at it very, very carefully. It's ideally located to keep an eye both on Myanmar and on China. The Chinese would be very frightened if a naval base was built there. So I believe that she was booted out because of this. This guy was foisted, but he played footsie with the Chinese, which old MacDonald Trump doesn't like. I sent you there because I want you to be my cat's paw as I clobber China. And on the other hand, you're hopping into bed with the Chinese. Sorry, buddy, it's not going to work. So he's lost that support also, sir. And I believe, sir, whatever you say about the American dark state, some call it, I prefer to call it the dark state. These jokers are aware of what suits them at a particular point of time. Like any dark state anywhere, their policy is use, abuse and discard. Now, as far as this Muhammad Useless Khan is concerned, my fear, my understanding, my anticipation is the discard phase is now coming in. Throw him out. As far as we are concerned, of course these guys are going to create trouble. Nothing more than they've been doing in the past. And while, sir, I say this with total sincerity, while Bharat, my mother, has sons like Lieutenant General Pandey, I don't think we should be worried, sir. We'll be able to deal with these people, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. But with representatives like you, I am very sure, sir, we are able to, we'll be able to manage. But a couple of points you have to just note down. Will US allow the Chinese to use that airbase?
No.
Right. One is that. Second is militarily, right? We should be concerned what comes there. But militarily, will China like to position certain very critical stuff in that location? If yes, for what? He's getting whatever details he wants of takeoff and stuff from variety of places. There are enough elements of Bangladesh which are already as sleeper cells around, and you got satellite coverage, you got so many other coverage to get those data which is required. But yes, we need to be concerned because that is our so-called vulnerability.
Yeah.
But again, we should not swing to one side in terms of antagonizing the Bangladesh army, the people who are actually fond of our country, whose survival, whose daily livelihood is so interlinked to us in terms of trade, in terms of work, everything is involved. But when we will go hammer and tongs by Bangladesh as an entire entity because some foreigners have come to rule that country and be fostered there, and who will fly away when things go wrong eventually. So, it should not happen that in our conversations, we ensure that there is a fissure which comes out, right? Which will be very difficult to be managed.
Mended.
The bottom line also, just please understand that it took India a certain degree of engagement to ensure that all the terrorist leaders, people who are operating, were either pushed out or it was made untenable for them to stay in Bangladesh, and they got eventually either surrendered or they got neutralized over a period of time.
So, but do you see an implosion happening?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. May I intercede here, sir, if you
Sir,
permit?
please.
I'm in touch with a lot of my friends in Bangladesh. Some who left the country, some who are still there. One of them made a very telling comment that obviously doesn't like the present regime. This government is playing around with Islamic terror. Have they not heard of what India did to Pakistan? Now this is a message, sir, not just for these jokers, but for everybody in our neighborhood. I can take you out with precise strikes. You won't even know what has hit you. Tonight, the camp is there. A few hours later, it ceases to exist. This is a very powerful message, what Robert Merton used to talk about, the unintended consequences of an action. Apart from the fact that BrahMos is the new king in the armaments market and so on. Just the fact that I can obliterate you, sir, that is very, very important. So I think that the wise people of Bangladesh, they are not interested in Islamic terror, the overwhelming majority. They are Bengalis, superior, they believe superior language, superior culture, superior food habits, etc. And which to a very large extent, it's a land of Rabindranath Tagore. So what more can I say? They are very aware of this, so they're not going to fall. Are there 10,000, 15,000 fellows that this guy thinks are going to support him? No, sir. They have understood that terror camps, and if the Chinese, like you rightly said, think that what are they coming there to do? Right. They also know that their airfields can be disabled very quickly in the event of a conflict. That they've probably built some, they built some civilian airports in Nepal. Huge amount of money, no planes land there. What for?
Correct.
Ultimately, Gadar port. Sir, let me conclude by saying, it's not related to Bangladesh, but today I know, sir, if Balochistan decides to go its own way, China will tell Pakistan, hey, Pakistan, you are somewhere near South Africa, we'll deal with Balochistan because my interests go through there.
Well, I think everybody knows that, and when it comes to chicken neck, Bangladesh have two of their own.
Yeah.
So that is also something. I've run out of time. I'm 2 minutes over on this show. I would love to come. We'll take it forward. We've got to talk Turkey too, so I'm going to get you back on the studio tomorrow. That's what we're going to do.
I love to eat chicken legs.
Thank you.
Network 18 decimates Times Internet with over 6 times more unique users on social media. Network 18, the undisputed leader of news networks, way ahead of the times.